Hello, and welcome to Shortcut Up CNC. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Guitar Body Maker Gadget. We're going to go to the image of the Martin Dreadnought, which is the first one on the list. And this is the mold here. And this is the outline of the guitar body for the Martin Dreadnought. Then we have the cauls for the call spreaders. They're all identified to the mold and identified to the location of where the calls go or the call spreader go. And we have alignment lines to align the call spreaders to the mold. We also have holes for attaching the calls to the spreaders, and we also have holes in the mold for layering the mold to the thickness or height of the body of the acoustic guitar. So now we'll go take a look at the gadget. In the gadget, we have a few notes here at the bottom. One is the gadget is best used with the XY datum at the center position. You want the XY datum in the center when you choose it for your job setup. And the material board size typically for using the gadget, X dimension is 22, the Y dimension is 24.5. When tool pathing, both tools are required. If only vectors are to be created, do not enter any tooling. You can choose a guitar body style and just say OK to it, and it says no tool pathing, confirming what you actually did there. Vector on layers selected only. There we have our vectors on the individual layers as we have selected. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to show you the setup process once again. It's single-sided, 22 by 24.5, and the thickness, you can vary that. It's up to you what thickness you want to layer your mold to. I'm using 1.5 typically, and we're going to change this back to the center XY datum position because that's what the gadget uses, and we'll say OK to that. Now we'll go get the gadget back into play. Typically, when you bring the gadget up, the best thing to do is to go to the About page, do a gadget reset, because you don't remember probably when you've used the gadget last and where, whether it was in an inches imperial standard or in a metric millimeter standard. So we close that. And the gadget's reset to inches. It shows it here at the very top. And of course, this always comes up when you bring the gadget up with what it was used last. And that's why it's important to do the gadget reset so that you reset the gadget back to the factory standards for either inches or millimeters in the metric. So now, typically we go to the project and milling, but if we wanted to just go ahead and look at this, say choose a guitar body, we can go ahead and grab a tool. I use a 30-degree V-bit. Does nicely for engraving things, identification and scribe lines. So we do the down cut 1/4-inch end mill for the cutout of the parts. And the next thing we'll do is we'll say OK to that. And of course, since we bypass some things, it's looking for one item, and that is a path on your computer somewhere. It's a folder or on your desktop, and you can delete it afterwards. It's for information from the gadget, and that information serves two purposes. One, for troubleshooting. It's great for and you can import that information back into the gadget, and the technician can troubleshoot your issues, your problem issues. And the other thing is that if you have a certain guitar body that you're doing all the time, over and over and over consistently, you can just re-import that information. You create it one time and just re-import that information. The only thing you have to change is the tooling, because over time your tool database changes and the tooling changes. So it brings in what the information, it references those tools that you used last, but it doesn't actually import the tools. You will have to put the tools in from your tool database after you import the file information. So let's create this path. That's the information we bypassed from the project setup. The project ID is automatically created. It's the year, the month, the day, and the time, or a number, some numeric number behind the end of it. But anyway, let's create the path on my computer. I've already set up a path. I just got to grab it. Now you save that information, and there it's creating the tool paths, the vectors on the layers. Everything is performing nicely right now. So now what we'll do is we'll close this. And we'll actually go to my file system, and I'll show you that file that it created. The export file. Okay, 1004. There, yeah, say 1003, 1004. It's a time. Yeah, 1005. Okay, that's the time. And of course, it doesn't show the same file numbers because the time changed at the time it was saved. It was created at one time, saved at another time, and boom, it did just a second time over. But anyway, here's all the information that came from the gadget. And all this information can be, this file can actually be imported back into the gadget. And like I said earlier, you only have to reinstall your tools into the gadget from your tool database, and then say okay to it, and boom, you got your tool paths, vectors, and layers all created from that file. So we're going to go to the creation of this one more time. Use all those same settings. Grab the gadget. Now we'll go in a typical order of things. The About page, do a gadget reset, because we don't know when we've used it last and where we used it, whether it was in inches or millimeters. And the next thing we do is we go to the project setup, and we'll set up a name in here. And we'll set the path again. Nope, wrong one. Body testing. There we go. And then we go to the milling. These are for reference only. This tells you what size bit you may want to use for the V bit, and this tells you the profile bit diameter, a 1/4 inch. You can use a smaller one or a larger one. It's strictly up to you, and you don't need to change this information. This is just for reference only for using the gadget. Okay, profile on. Typically got it set for 0.0935. We're going to change this to 625. And the material thickness, we want to make this the same as the thickness we set up for the job setup. And then your profile cutout depth, you can leave it the same. But if you leave it the same, the gadget's going to kick out an error saying it wants to go a little bit beyond. So let's take this to 001 and save it. Now we go select a guitar body style. I'm going to use the J200 and I'm going to grab a V bit. Let's use a 60-degree, 1/4 inch. And then on the profile cutout, we'll use the same 1/4 inch downcut bit. And now we say OK to that. And of course, we went a little bit below, so it's going to tell us that. Of course, it's only 3 decimal places we went for. So there we have our tool pass. We go to the layers. Here's our layers. And we've also got the default layer. You can delete that or you can keep it. It's strictly up to you. And that comes with the software. It automatically creates a default layer. So here we have all our different layers. Excuse me. Okay, turn off the tool pass. Excuse me. Losing my voice here. Here we got all our identification for the V-bit to apply. Then we got the call holes and the body mold holes. And then you've got your call profiles. And then you have the profile of the guitar. If we perform this, all right, preview all. And there we see the gadget in operation. You get rid of the excess material, and there you have your calls for the call spreader and your mold created. So there you have it, folks, the Guitar Body Mold Maker Gadget. Thank you for watching Shark Cut Up CNC.